Okay, Peggy, I think we can do the intro now.
Okay.
Or sorry, Mariana.
That's all right. We will be offering simultaneous interpretation in Spanish during this meeting. If you wish to hear Spanish interpretation, please click the interpretation button at the bottom right of your Zoom screen. You'll see a globe icon that will be turned on right after these instructions. If you're joining us via the Zoom smartphone app, select your language by clicking More or the three dots in the bottom right corner of your screen. Select Language Interpretation, then choose Spanish and click Done. If you wish to hear only the interpreter and not the original speaker, be sure to click Mute Original Audio. Everyone must choose the language. Estamos ofreciendo interpretación simultánea al español durante esta reunión. Si desea escuchar la interpretación al español, haga clic en el botón de la interpretación en la parte inferior derecha de la pantalla de Zoom. Verá el icono de globo terráqueo que se encenderá después de estas instrucciones. Si nos acompaña a través de la aplicación de Zoom para smartphone, seleccione su idioma haciendo clic donde dice More o Más o en los tres puntitos en la esquina inferior derecha de la pantalla. Seleccione Language Interpretation o interpretación del idioma y elija Spanish o español y haga clic donde dice Done o listo. Si desea escuchar solo al intérprete y no a los oradores originales, asegúrese de hacer clic donde dice Mute Original Audio o silenciar el audio original. Escoja un idioma, no se quede en la posición predeterminada. Back to you, Peggy. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Mariana. Hi, everyone. Thanks for being here. This is the evening with the administration. Many of you asked what's the difference between the PTO meetings and the evening with the administration. So it's a very simple task. The PTO, we are informing every second month to the public what we are doing in our board. And this is evening with the administration. We had it in the previous years as the pastries with the principal. Sorry about that. I forgot. Pastries with the principal. That was every Wednesday on our middle school campus most of the time in the past few weeks before the shutdown of the corona. So we just moved that one to evening with the administration now, so we can go all the time evenings, and all the administrators like Dr. Shareda, Frau Bauder, Mrs. Bowders, and Andy Trackers, our middle school principal. They mostly take the time and join us to answer your questions, parents. And this is a very good opportunity to get all the new information, what the school is doing, what is happening, and the administrators are taking the time to explain us. Thank you and welcome our administrators today, Dr. Shareda, Mrs. Bowders, and Andy Trackers. Thank you for being here. And without losing too much time, I would ask Dr. Shareda today to start this event.
Yes, thank you, Peggy, for the introduction and for all you do for Friends of AEA. Thank you to the staff and to the parents who are tuned in to this evening's call. I just have a few brief comments and then we'll transition to the respective principals as well as our, I believe our operations manager and tech coordinator have some pieces as well to present this evening. I wanted to first of all wish everyone a happy new year, and may 2022 be more peaceful than 2021 and 2020 and half of 2019. We obviously have all been wrestling with the Omicron variant, and it has had a marked impact on student attendance and staff attendance on both of our campuses. And so we continue to adapt as best we can. The decision tree from the county public health authorities changes on a weekly basis. And so we're really trying to stay on top of that and how that impacts the time frame under which people can return to work, under which students can return to school. So if we're over emailing you about different things, we apologize, but we're trying to keep folks in the loop as best we can. We're also trying to continue to offer testing services on both of our campuses on Wednesday afternoons. That will continue as long as supplies last. You know that if you're out there in the marketplace, that these testing, the availability of these testing products is a little bit unpredictable. We very soon, in short order, will be coming out with another announcement about another shipment of take-home COVID tests that we received, that we're trying to find the most thoughtful way to get those into the hands of families so they can, certainly coming back from spring break, do some testing prior to returning. But obviously, as we all can see from the past couple years, from now until spring break, a lot can change when it comes to different variants and rates of contagion, et cetera. We are currently trending at about 10%. So what I should say is 10% of the individuals who take the test on both of our campuses, that's adults and minors, are testing positive. And so you can go to our website, aeacs.org, and look at the COVID dashboard on there for a tally of cases, et cetera. The only other thing I will say before we move to the principals is we continue to work on 2 facilities projects, one of which Principal Bowders will speak about in a couple minutes, which is the site modernization for our elementary campus. And if you follow AEA board meetings, you'll know that for the past couple years, periodically, we have facilities related, real estate related, closed session items related to a facility for the Einstein High School. While I can't disclose specific information about real estate negotiations, I really, really hope that by the next time we have evenings with admin, that I have a very, very happy announcement to bring you. So that is about as close as I'm going to get to divulging information that I shouldn't divulge. So, but it's related to facilities, wink, wink. So with that, the principals are going to cover a number of items, and then we'll move on, and we'll field your questions.
Want me to go first, Andy?
Go for it.
Okay. Good evening, parents. Thank you for joining. Family members, thank you for joining. Happy New Year. Yes, we have had a very busy start to January. I first want to thank you all for just supporting us along the way. I know Dr. Shredder talked about our absences, and yes, they are impacting our staff as well as obviously student absences. And so I just want to acknowledge the people who have worked really hard to manage the testing and then the absences and the parent requests, and trying to track all of that is quite a task. So our front offices, I know by both campuses, they have been miraculously multitasking. So if your phone calls are not getting returned, or your emails are not getting returned as quickly as you normally get them, that is why we are really testing, especially those Mondays and Tuesdays when we're testing. The staff at the front offices really are following up with any kind of close contacts. So please be patient with that. Teachers have shifted too, so that they are able to have an online learning opportunity for students during morning meeting. Some grades have some additional Zooms should your student be out for a few days. And then there's also Canvas that's up and running in each of the grade levels. So if you are unable to get through to the office, your children have access to Canvas, and your teachers will have pushed out. You can reach out to them to push out your Zoom links. But we update our information of our students who are out for illness daily. So we push that out to teachers. They're trying to check that to see which kids of their own in their classes are going to be out, and they'll be contacting. So that is ongoing. Our numbers it's gotten a little better from the first couple of weeks, but we still have, a lot of kids absent, and it's ever changing. And so thank you for supporting us in that. In addition, I want to also acknowledge our pool of substitutes that we have created in our through our own site, through our HR, because they have been like phenomenal as well. Like we have really been able to cover all classes right now between support staff, our specials teachers, plus our substitutes when our classroom teachers are out. And so that's been wonderful. The subs have been great at we're just moving them. Every day they show up and we're like, okay, this is where you're going. And then just our staffs themselves have just whenever we have asked them to pick up something, they're doing it, whether it's temperature checks outside. I think one of our weeks we had a number of safety crew absent. And so our teachers were just down supporting during recess. So I want to acknowledge everyone for their flexibility and supporting wherever they need to. And that's the part of the AEA community that I'm not surprised at, but I'm always grateful for. Semester ended January 21st. So our teachers have been busy working on report cards. The elementary school report cards, hard copies of those report cards will be going out February 4th. If you would like a digital copy, you can reach out to your teachers and they can send you one. There is a few potential delays. There are some students who have been out for a lot of January, and some of our teachers, especially in the younger grades, who really use the January assessments, the BPST and some of our reading assessments, they want to get the most recent data. So if you have a student who has been out for a significant time in January, teacher will reach out to you and say, hey, we want to make sure the student gets assessed before we hand out that report card. So there might be a delay for some of those kids. After report cards, and this is going to be true for both schools, you'll start, the spring is our kind of testing season, and the LPAC, which is our English language proficiency assessment, which is for students who speak a language other than English. That LPAC assessment will start as soon as February. So if you have a student who is an ELL, English language learner, they will be assessed as early as January in the LPAC. And then we also will have our spring NWEA or MAP assessments, which are our internal assessments for grades 3 and above. Second grade is still determining when they want to do their MAP assessments. They might wait just for the spring, but the other grades 3rd and up will be doing a winter assessment. And then we have our state assessments, which we have not done for 2 years. This is the California assessments. And so this year, they are shorter. They're in grades from elementary, it'll be 3rd through 8th grade. And then they are mandated. They're going to be shorter than prior to the 2019 assessments, but they will be mandatory. Last year, we had the option to do them or another assessment, and we chose to do the MAP assessments internally, since we had a really good gauge of how to do that virtually, because we had done it the year before. But all our students will be taking the CASP test this year, or Smarter Balance. And finally, I just want to touch on our site modernization. As Dr. Sharetta talked about, we are in for a big, giant, beautiful remodel here. It'll be a gorgeous site eventually, but it is going to be a long process. And so we are going to try to communicate with you along the way of any changes that you will see. We've been working very closely with the district. This is a district project. It is their monies that or the state monies mandated for this, that is funding this project. So we have been working on the district timeline. We've gotten to work very close with them, and we're getting very close to actually starting this. Seems like forever. But the first phase will begin so far around May 1st. And the first phase will be them in their pre-construction phase. So they're just going to get our campus ready for the electrical and all the lines that they're going to need to run, and then get up their equipment set up. The impact for us will be we will lose the space of the blacktop, the entire blacktop, and where the dirt field is now, where the kickball field is. we have already made plans with our PE people and our recess, how to support that and how to monitor that. The other impact for you guys will be just dismissal and drop off, which isn't going to be a big impact, except it'll be a different gate. So currently now the gate that you're dropping off at is the bigger gate. Up toward the the 30th Street, or Fern Street rather, there's a smaller gate, which is the purple playground, we call it, where it has the play structure kind of directly across from Benny's. There is a gate there as well. And so we're going to be having to dismiss and drop off at that upper gate, but we're going to ask you parents to continue to drive down and drop off down the hill or pick up, and we'll have our support staff working kind of the opposite way. We walk them to their cars this way. We're going to be walking them down. I know a lot of parents sit by the gate and they want to watch them drop off at the gate and watch them, but because of the distance it takes away, and those of you who do drop off, you know how that one car that can sit there can hold up a lot of people. And so we're going to just ask that you go down the hill to drop off and pick up. And so there'll be no impact to the room changes or anything this year. But bungalows will be changing next year for the start of the year. So the 4 bungalows that are currently second grade bungalows, they are up by the purple playground, which are up on the Fern Street side, and they're kind of standalones. Those bungalows are going to be moved down to the dirt field in the fall. And those second grade classrooms will be relocated down there for the first phase of construction. So we will keep you updated. Timelines do change, but our staff is on it. Cherie is a master at navigating complicated things and you know, in terms of just moving our kids around outside. And so she and I and Michelle Marino are working to kind of keep everything updated, and we will notify you to any future changes. But it's good stuff. Just hang in, because it's gorgeous facilities that we're going to have, and no more bungalows. So we're excited.
Thank you so much, Greta. We are really excited for the new buildings. So I will ask Andy now. Andy, do you want to continue, please?
Good evening and Happy New Year. I don't know what to say. I think Principal Bowders covered everything, but I just want to share thanks and sincere gratitude to our community for their flexibility. And as Principal Bowders said earlier, to really highlight our staff, because as you have been reading or seeing in the media, lots of school districts have been struggling about covering classes and consolidating classes in the gymnasiums. And that's not happening at AEA. And that's because of the commitment of our staff. Our staff are sacrificing their prep times to be able to support their colleagues. And I'm very, very proud to say that our culture at our schools is amazing. And that has to do with our staff and just the teamwork, the support. And thank you to our parents. This is a tough time for everyone. You know, we are preparing for this since last year and providing some flexible options. We're seeing a lot of that come to fruition now, where students and the families need extra supports at home. We prepared last year in developing programs, purchasing equipment that would help bridge school to home. Some of our teachers are using a swivel device where if our students are lucky enough to be able to follow synchronously, they can be able to watch the live action of what's happening in the classroom and be part of that classroom theoretically. But the commitment to Canvas was a powerful one, and that's something that wasn't a drive-by initiative, but that's going to become part of the fabric of what we do. And it also gives opportunities for our parents to become partners. And we're seeing that happen. We saw that happen the last year and a half. So thanks again for the help and support. We're doing the best we can. Our commitment is to take things one day at a time, work together, keep things positive, do the best we can, put our best foot forward, and do what's best for our students, our parents, and our community. So thank you all. I just also want to share that this is the first week of a new semester. We're already halfway through this year already, and we have some very, very promising indicators. You know, we have a systematic approach to how we assess our students. We have map tests in the beginning when we start school in the fall. And then we have right now our midterm, which would be our winter map testing. And then later in the spring, we do our last session of map testing. But our numbers are looking very, very strong and showing growth for our students. And for some students, we're showing a lot of growth. So there's a lot to be said, a lot to be thankful, lots of kudos to go around. And for our teachers to put some air under their wings and to let them know that their efforts and their commitment is paying off. Our students are engaged in powerful teaching and learning. They're growing, and we're going to continue to take it one day at a time and put our best foot forward and make sure that our students are engaged and academic achievement and growth is there each and every day. I'm also very proud to say that we're continuing to grow as far as student enrichment opportunities. Starting with my first meeting a few years ago, we talked about enrichment, and thank you to friends, because I pitched an idea about a music program. Now we have over 220 of our students that are involved in music. When we talk about the impact and the effect of music on the adolescent mind and how the mind triggers, it's just amazing to see our kids connect to music and have that piece in their life. And that's something that's a lifelong piece. It's not just a middle school piece. So we're so very proud. We have an amazing music teacher, Mr. Travis Klein. They're going to have a performance that's coming up soon. We'll have more information out to our community about that. We also have theater arts program with Itzel Lizarraga. The students are very, very excited about that. We did an old school opportunity. We'll call it old school, but we started a cross stitch, a sewing program this week where we had over 30 students come. So much thanks go out to Fatima Alibi for doing that. And again, our athletic opportunities in futsal, and boys and girls basketball are going on now. And later on in the spring, we'll have boys and girls soccer as well. And sixth grade has a community activist group that meets. This is a number of the enrichment opportunities that we're developing, we're growing, and Peggy, you and I, and Dr. Kill had talked earlier, had talked last week. Our goal right now is to develop a menu and to be able to market some of these pieces to see how we can support one another and continue to develop opportunities for all students to be connected, whether it's sports, whether it's robotics, whether it's going to be drama or music. We never know what our students are going to connect to, but it's our responsibility to provide those opportunities. And we're working very hard to provide a multitude of opportunities for student connectivity. I'd love to be able to say that we have a one-stop shop for our parents in our community where they could drop their kids off at 7 and they can pick them up at 7 rather than running them around all over the city. So we're working very hard at achieving that goal. I also would like to say a few years ago in 2019, we have a number of accreditation pieces that we're responsible for. One is WASC, the Western Association of Schools and Colleges. The other initiative that we work for as far as accreditation is with IB, because we're an IB school, an IB organization. We also have a piece that we do with the San Diego Unified School District, amongst many others. I'm very proud to say that in 2019, our middle school was the first school in North America to develop a joint IB WASC accreditation visit. And we received the highest marks with a one-day visit, which is coming up this spring. So we're preparing for that visit. There's a few areas that were outlined for critical areas of follow-up. I know that our staff has worked very, very hard to be able to address those areas. Some of those areas were back then addressing school discipline, school culture, closing the achievement gap, offering professional development to achieve all the goals above. And we have accomplished a lot, and we'll continue to work at that. Also, if some of the parents might be interested in taking part in WASC, please send me an email, because we would like to be able to develop a focus group for our parents to have parent voice, to be able to say, hey, what's the good, the bad, and the ugly of what's happening at the school? How can we do a better job? So those are some of the things that we're working on for this spring. We're very, very proud of our kids and our students. We're doing the best we can to make sure that we're going to get through this dark cloud of COVID and get all of our kids back and get them connected and giving it their very best. So we've got a lot of work to do, but we've got the right people in place to get the job done. And Peggy and friends, you're a big part of that. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much, Andy. That was a lot of information. And I really want to say, in name of other parents too, because many parents are so thankful for your after-time free after-school programs now on the middle school. Thank you so much. We know how much money and how much effort that cost. And thank you for doing that. And I think Kathy is today here. She wants to tell us something too. Kathy, you want to take over?
Thank you so much, Peggy, and good evening, everyone. Can you hear me okay? Yep. Recently, the community received a survey regarding the AEA Comprehensive School-Wide Safety Plan. This was presented to our Board of Trustees and as a draft on January 18th. This is the safety school-wide plan for the 2022-23 school year. And we're seeking feedback from our school community, so please continue to keep submitting your comments on our survey. That's going to help us drive future conversation with our community regarding this topic. And I think we have a short little slideshow. Brad, can you pull that up for me? Thank you. Perfect. Thanks, Brad. You can probably go to the second slide. Thank you. We had a safety committee that's been working on this project since the end of 2019 and took a little hiccup, obviously, with the shutdown, but started right back up again in mid-2020. So you can read our volunteer ad hoc safety committee members right there. It's a mix between teachers, certificated teaching staff, and classified support staff between both campuses. And the next slide. Thank you. So our comprehensive school-wide safety plan is posted. The draft version is posted on the website, so you can take a look at it. And it is a redacted version, however, because for the public view, we have to remove all tactical items out of the plan itself. So you can take a glimpse at it. It's a fairly long document. So you sit down with a glass of any beverage you want and you can scroll through it, and then make sure, if you can, again, fill out that survey. That's very helpful to us. There's 3 main sections to it, and I won't go into too much details on each one because you can view the document itself, but there's a section 1, which is our administrator's red book, and this is the actual playbook. It covers all of our emergency plans, the key LEA contacts, our command posts, and search, rescue, and evacuation maps, and so forth. And then section 2 is our emergency actions, and these are our at-a-glance guides, and also our top 8 emergency actions that we would most likely encounter on our school campuses. And then section 3 is actually our emergency responses. How are we actually responding to those main actions that are happening on campus, those main emergency actions that are happening on campus? And there's over 40 of them listed, emergency events that could possibly happen, and also our responses to those events. So take a look when you can. And I think, Brad, you want to take the last slide on on our staff training and so forth?
Yeah, I can take that one. Good evening, everyone. So I'll just quickly go over how we're going to implement and train our staff on this comprehensive safety plan. So a part of the welcome back week for all of our staff is making sure that we take care of all of our yearly required trainings. And so this is obviously a very important training that should be done yearly at the minimum to ensure it's fresh in the minds of our staff. So our plan is to develop a training video that is between 20 to 30 minutes long that summarizes the 3 primary sections of the comprehensive safety plan. Also go over the top 3 to 4 emergency events that could happen at a school. Go over our evacuation protocols, include maps of the important emergency items and where to find them. and then also our monthly emergency drills and the implementation of those drills so that we're prepped for the drills that go on throughout the year. And so we'll develop this video, we'll place it on our internal staff resource website and have all staff watch that video. And then to follow that will be a brief quiz to check for understanding, basically quizzing the staff on the items that was gone over in the video. And then we'll also have that video and quiz available at any time. So if a new staff member comes, at any point in the school year, they can very easily and quickly be trained on this content as well.
Thank you, Brad. And I just want to give a shout out and an extra special thank you to that entire safety committee. There was a lot of hard volunteer hours that were put in past their normal work days. So if you happen to see anybody on that list, make sure you say thank you and give them a shout out. So, and that's it. I'll turn it back over to David at this point before we start Q&A.
Yeah. David, do you want to start?
No, I'll defer to you, Peggy.
Okay.
I think we've had a patient a patient person raising their hand, a couple people,
Yeah.
and so I'll let you facilitate.
Let me check. Who is that? Can you, Brad? Can you see who is raising the hands? I don't have the access here on my monitor.
Yes, we do have a few raised hands, but I believe that Kathy has a few guidelines to read off first.
Okay, please.
Thanks, Brad. Yes, Peggy, if you don't mind, it's been a few months since we've
Sure.
had this live Zoom format, so we just have quick guidelines to read over. Due to the virtual format of this meeting, we respectfully ask all attendees to adhere to the following guidelines to provide equity for all speakers. The format is virtual, as you all know already. All live chat functions have been disabled. The raise hand feature will be enabled, and that's located at the bottom of your screen under the reactions emoji where the smiley face icon is located. Speakers will be called in the order that their hand was raised. Each speaker will have up to 2 minutes for their question or comment. Each speaker is limited to one question until all questions have been answered. When your name is called, please be prepared to speak. If you do not respond when your name is called, the next speaker will be called. Please speak slowly and clearly to accommodate translation. Meeting length is normally 1 hour, and that's subject to change by administration. The expectations for audience conduct are the following. The following conduct will not be tolerated. Any verbal comments that are deemed abusive, discriminating, threatening, racist, vulgar, obscene, or harassing. Any libel, slander, or personal attacks of any kind, including the use of offensive terms that target specific individuals or groups. Any spam, including content or pictures. Comments that include unsupported accusations. Comments that suggest or encourage illegal, dangerous, or destructive activity. Duplicate questions or posts. And comments that are clearly off topic or political campaigning or lobbying. Thank you so much, Peggy.
Thank you, Kathy. Thank you for that. I totally forgot about that. Thank you so much. So do we have the questioners? I think it's Matthias Kill.
We have the first hand that was raised, Peggy, is Maria del Rosario Cuevas.
So it's a bit not clear here. Can you take
Sí,
over,
buenas noches.
Kathy?
Yes, we'll pull off the names for
Tengo
you,
una
Peggy.
pregunta.
Yeah, thank you.
Sí, buenas noches. Tengo una pregunta para el director sobre el campamento de los estudiantes del grado 6. Quería saber si va a haber como un fundraise para hacer el pago de los 252 del campamento. Quería ver si, no sé si, como qué van a hacer, pues, qué se va a hacer. Si se va a hacer un fundraise o si tiene uno que pagar el total. Esa es mi pregunta.
I'm sorry, I didn't understand of it, but I think David, he knows everything. David, would you answer this?
Mariana Lopez.
Yeah, so it depends on the which channel you're on for the translation, but the question was if there's going to be a fundraising effort to cover the $252 for the 6th grade camp, or whether parents will be required to pay the entire amount. And I'll defer to Mr. Trackus in a minute, but I'll give you the principal PLE of how we do all of our field trips at any grade level in pre and post-COVID years when we don't have to consider limiting some of them. Financial considerations can never be a barrier to participating in any field trips, whether they're overnight or otherwise. We're public entities, and this is the creed that we live by. So in the case of the 6th grade camp, Einstein will be covering the amount of the participation in that group, in that activity rather. And in past years, there's also a significant contribution from Friends of AEA as our PTO in that. And then obviously we always offer the opportunity for parents to donate if they feel so inclined. But it is both, in my mind, unethical, and also it's illegal for public schools to charge for activities that are related to the education of their students. So you can't organize a trip and then say it costs $300. You don't pay, you don't go. That's not how we do things. So if your child is in 6th grade, and if indeed the trip happens this year, if we can figure it out with COVID, et cetera, your child will go, whether you pay a donation of $252 or $0 or somewhere in between. I hope that answers your question.
Thank you, David.
The next question is Mateus Kill.
Good evening. Make sure I try to get within the 2-minute time limit for my first question. So at the Board of Trustee meeting this month, they talked about the safety plan. And that made me think about health, because obviously health and safety are the two most important priorities for parents. And that got me thinking about mental health. And so I wanted to ask that either Andy Kim or some representative for the schools do a presentation for parents, preferably both at the Board of Trustee meeting and at this event next month, that goes over a number of topics. I'll kind of list them out, and I can always email him or whoever's going to do the presentation with my suggestions. And I'm sure other parents will have an interest and questions as well. I think having it at both venues, I'll say, is important because the Board of Trustees is not a very interactive environment. It's a very one-way, parents being talked to. And although we can comment, it's not interactive. So I think it's an important enough topic that warrants presentation in both places. I think that one of the reasons I chose Einstein as a charter to go to was the mental health support, social emotional support, which you guys have, which is far superior to any other school in the area. You guys did a lot of stuff before COVID. I'd be interested in knowing what you did before, what has happened to our kids with COVID, not only nationally and locally, and then what are we doing after, above and beyond, different from before? The teachers are overwhelmed with COVID precautions and lack of parent volunteers and what have you. So for them to already do the great job they're doing is hard. Are we doing things like mental health relief for the teachers? Can we bring on a counselor, a new social worker? And then, what are we doing with the ESSER funds? In other places in the country, there's stakeholder surveys and presentations about how they're using the ESSER funds. I understand we're going to do a parent university, which is a great first step, but I'd be interested in what other steps we've taken, again, that are new and what is planned. And then beyond that, for the parents, what can we do? What should we look out for? The subtlety.
I'm sorry, your time is up. Our next question. Go ahead, David.
Can I just make a comment on that? Because I know it got clipped at the end. So Dr. Kill will take that under advisement. That was a kind of a multi-layered comment, sequence of comments. And so It has implications for the scheduling of items at board meetings, as well as a staffing component, right? It's one thing well, I'll say we'll take it under advisement. I think there's some really valid points, and we'll have to look at what is being already offered at Parent University, and whether we can fill in some gaps, whether we can do a better job of communicating some of these pieces to the community. So I'll watch the recording of this afterwards too, to make sure I didn't miss any of that. Thank you.
Yeah, I just wanted to chime in if I can too about parent universities, and parent universities were surveyed. And we have a process for that in terms of getting that input from parents. And we have already been on working on a parent university that actually addresses the mental health of our students. And so that is already being under consideration. So you can look out for those, whether we do that internally with our own people, or we're going to outsource as well additional supports to just to give parents that information. So that's already in the works right there.
And then just a few things, Dr. Kill, we're very fortunate that we have a full-time counselor, we have a full-time psychologist that have groups that address a number of things, small groups of students. Those things are ongoing, and they have been established. We also have a partnership with San Diego State and San Diego State School of Nursing, where we address sexual health for our kids. That began a few years ago, and it was in response to a mandate from the state. The state has a mandate that's focused on mental health that's coming out in 2022, 2023. So, you're absolutely correct. The psychosocial well-being, the health and safety of our kids is a number one priority. If hearts and minds are in the right place, learning is going to happen. And that's at the forefront of everything we do. There is room for growth in the area. There is room for growth for development of curriculum that's going to address COVID-related, especially issues regarding mental health. This is definitely on our radar. To answer some of your other questions that had to do with ESSER funding and what we do with funding, you sound like a perfect candidate for our school site council. So if you're interested in becoming part, please let me know. Shoot me an email, and that's something that with COVID. We've lost some members. We just lost some of the people who were on our SSC before they moved. They have moved on. So we're looking to be able to re-energize our school site council. So please shoot me an email so we can start this process and get a group of our parents and community members together to be able to talk about these things and to see how we can move our monies where we feel collectively is our greatest need.
And I do want to just let parents know that our teachers are, one of the things that we had stressed coming back onto campus is the social emotional well-being of our students. So we have things in place that were already in place, like in elementary school, responsive classroom, which covers a lot of community building, because we know when our kids feel safe and connected, that improves their mental health. And then we have it built into the days of supporting our kids. Teachers are high alert. And if they do have concerns that go above and beyond, we also have a full-time school psychologist plus a school psych intern. And then there's some special classes, which are like our zones of regulation for our little ones that go and beyond for those kids who might need that too. So we have a lot in place. I think we're constantly monitoring what else we need to do to support them. And so it's a continuous conversation for sure.
Thank you, Greta. Thank you, Ed.
Thanks, Greta. Thank you, Andy. Our next speaker is William Elliott. William, if you can unmute your microphone.
Hi, everyone. Thanks for the opportunity to speak. I really just felt touched by what Matt had put out. The psychological impact of COVID is kind of, I think, the next puddle we're going to have to jump into here as this thing moves from pandemic to kind of endemic stage, and we start to redefine what new normal looks like. I can only speak from personal experience that having moved from Germany and having Mariana, my daughter, home the whole time, it had a tremendous psychological impact on her, as I know it did on many others, and physical too. Through the good work of her first grade teachers, they noticed that she was looking at words funny, and she probably needed glasses. had we had, had 2020 not been what it was, teachers probably would have noticed it sooner. So the more resources that are advertised to parents, the better. If resources need to be gathered through Friends of EEA, I think we're happy to help. I did have one final question. As we talk about the future, things like this dance program and sports program, things that we'd heard that Albert Einstein used to do before COVID, before school activities and after school activities and care and whatnot. Is any of that on the slate now for next year? I understand this year may be a wash because we're still in the middle of this thing. I just wanted to know if that's too far out to look. Thank you for the chance to speak. Over.
I will take that from the elementary lens. Absolutely. Right now, we've had always a plethora of opportunities for after school programs. We're actually, really trying to work with Friends potentially to see what other things we can offer free for students. Right now, a lot of our after school programs are fee based, and we want to really switch over from that. But as you're currently since our after school programs were all outside providers, that's the main reason they're not on campus right now. We hope to look for some tutoring with our own staff right now. We have a lot more control of that with our own people. And as soon as we can open up, we definitely want to bring more opportunities for after school, for sure.
Thank you, Greta. I think the next one is Miriam Verduzco. Miriam Verduzco, would you please?
Verduzco.
Hi.
Sí, buenas noches. Muchas gracias a todos. Una pregunta. Yo, por ejemplo, tengo la aplicación en Canvas, es sobre los grados de mi hija, y he visto que tienen muchos missings. He hablado con los maestros y dicen que pues sí hace ella sus trabajos y todas esas actividades en clase. Entonces, yo les he preguntado a ellos por qué aparece missing en Canvas. Entonces, quería saber si es como necesitan hacer como algún update o como para estar más bien, pues más segura de lo que ella está haciendo.
Okay, I'm not sure who can answer this. Andy, or maybe Greta with the Canvas problem.
Oh, sorry. I did not get the translation to that question.
So
Either did I.
So basically, I'll give you the summary. So the parent wants to know. So the parent has noticed that there are a number of missing assignments on Canvas, and is trying to figure out how to make sure that her child is actually doing what the child needs to do within the required timeline. Is this a situation of the staff not updating the Canvas, the input into Canvas in time, or is this a student not submitting the work? And so some confusion around that. I'm not clear whether it's at the elementary or the middle school level.
Yeah, I would ask what grade.
¿De qué grado es su hijo o su hija?
It's elementary. It's
Elementary.
it's middle school, sixth
Middle
grade.
school. So a sixth grader. So that's a Mr. Trackus question.
I would encourage, like I would encourage any parent to be able to have the communication piece with the teacher directly, whether it's through telephone, whether it's through email. If nobody gets back to them, please contact me or Ms. Solorio, the counselor, because we can't afford to let our kids dig a hole for themselves when we know that there's something missing, something going on. It's better to be proactive. So I would just encourage mom to reach out to the teacher. If not, please schedule a time with myself or Ms. Solorio so we can find out what's happening and how we can address some of these issues.
And what I would add to that is that Miss Solorio speaks Spanish. And so if that's a faster way to get that to that information, I would encourage you to do that.
Thank you. Thank you, David. Thank you, Andy, and also Greta. And I think Matthias Kill is raising the hand still. Is that true? Matthias, are you still, you want to say something?
Sure. And I'm not sure if this is for Kathy or for one of the other administrators. You talked about the comprehensive safety plan, and I watched its presentation at the Board of Trustees meeting. And I wondered, the committee you listed had all administrators and teachers, and there wasn't a parent or more than one parent on there. And I know as a previous trauma surgeon, and I know that just in my sphere of Einstein parents that I know, there's a couple SEALs, people whose area of specialties or background, I think really can contribute some practical knowledge to the program beyond what it might already have. Is that something that's not doable or that can be done? For instance, I thought that, having the teachers have some basic training about wounds and hemostasis, God forbid it should ever happen. But I'm not sure beyond the courses they already have, whether in the world in which we live, that might be something that would be practical and sort of easy to do.
Absolutely. I think we can look at that and see if that's an option for adding any parents onto the team or not. We are required, obviously, to interact with the parents for the plan. So as for the team itself, that's something we can definitely look into. And if you've already filled out the survey, I don't know if you can fill out another one. Brad would know that for sure, but make sure you add that on your comments or email either myself or Brad, and we can certainly address that.
Along with that, I don't know that I've received the survey. So if it's already been sent out,
it has.
If you can, I'll email you I don't think I deleted it. So
okay, perfect. Yeah, we'll go ahead and if you just email me, we'll get it resent to you, but those did go out already. Yes.
Great.
Thank you so much.
Thank you, Matt.
Peggy, I think we have one more hand up and we might have time for, we have time for one more. Allison Soares.
Exactly, yeah.
Thank you, Peggy. I wanted to say thank you. I just wanted to give the mom support who asked about Canvas. I also teach at SDSU, an amazing program, and it has a lot. So there's go back information.
Is that only me, or do you guys have the same problem? Only me?
Bad connection.
Bad connection. Ellison, are you still there?
Yeah, I'm here.
Oh, sorry, we missed everything. Can you repeat that, please, Ellison?
Yeah, I'll turn off my
video.
Okay,
thank you.
I just wanted to say to the mom about the Canvas, just to give some support, because we're all separate. We all need to give some support. Also, I teach at SDSU as well. So as a parent and as a teacher with Canvas, Canvas is a great program, and it's very complicated. You have to data enter a lot of information in the software. And if you don't immediately grade it and post it, and we see a lot of things as parents, we get emails that look very scary, that our children aren't doing things. And I've been in email communication with my son's teacher, and they have said over and over again. So I think it's great to follow up. And I just want to let you know, my son's in 6th grade. I feel you. It's very stressful. And I just want to let you know that I think the teachers are doing the best they can with Canvas. It just happens to be the way that the software works. So that's it. Good job, teachers. Good job, staff. Thank you. That's it.
Thank you. Thanks a lot, Ellison. So I think we had the last person now, and we have 3 more minutes. I would like to ask Greta if she's still there. I had a call today about the interviews and dates for the newcomers for the lottery system and things like that. Do you have anything on that? Any information on that you can share with us?
I just want to make sure I understand the question.
The interviews, the German lottery system and the German interviews. And one mom called me today and she wanted to know.
Okay, so this is in terms of our new to Einstein students, mostly kinder, that will be determining if they get the German language preference. Now, those dates have not been determined, but our lottery is in April this year. Birgit Schaefer will be connecting with Joelle to get the list of students who have told us that they were German speakers, and what that looks like. We do have to assess them to make sure they are. I do not have dates on that, but it looks like it will be after the spring break.
Mm-hmm. Okay, thank you so much. I hope the parent is watching this, and otherwise I will email you. And then I really have a request, guys, for all the parents. Please inform all other parents you know. On the campus, every Wednesday, our wonderful Sherry, is collecting all the lost and found stuff. And she is bringing every item which is labeled with names to the teachers so they can hand it out to the students. But the unlabeled things, she really has a problem with it. So what is happening there? Once a month, every Wednesdays, they are putting a table outside and putting everything which is unlabeled on the tables so the parents can grab it and go. So the dates are being posted now on Facebook, and I'm repeating that here. It was today, January 26th, and February 23rd, March 23rd, April 21st, May 25th, and June 15th are the dates for the unlabeled uniforms pickup outside in front of the elementary school. Please, if you missed anything, go and grab the stuff. Very easy stuff is, please label the items. It's very easy to collect them because students are losing them, and it will be very easy to collect them and give it to the teacher and hand over the student if the names are on the products. Thank you so much for being here, everyone. And I hope it was very informative, and I love the part that all the administrators are every time here taking the time. Thank you so much. I will say bye-bye for now and see you on next meeting. Thank you so much.